Miss Candace,
Yes.
do you have Brandon me one?
No, Mr. Drummond does.
You say yes?
Mr. Drummond does.
Thank you.
And I'm going to model how to complete this. So we're going to actually turn to handout 1A, all summer in a day. So everyone get that out. When you have that out, put your thumbs up. I'm going to model how first we find an example of figurative language used in the text, because I'm going to model how to complete this graphic organizer for you so that you can complete it all on your own. So as I read, I want you to follow along. Can someone repeat why I am going to read? What is the purpose of me reading, and what will I be doing? There.
We'll be modeling how we should do it.
Okay, so I'm going to be modeling how you should do the graphic organizer and what questions you should ask yourself. Now, as I'm reading, I want you to pay attention to how I'm thinking, what I'm thinking, what questions I'm asking, and also listening to how I read, because I'm also modeling how to read fluently. So again, you're watching and you're following along, and then you're also going to be listening to the questions I ask myself. So as I'm reading, these are some of the questions that I'm going to ask myself. So if everyone could just take a look up on this chart. So questions to ask yourself to find similes and metaphors. So the first questions I'm going to ask is, where in the text do I see a like or an as? I'm also going to ask myself, where in the text do I see is, are, was, and were? Now, if I relate it back to my key points, I know that if I see an is, are, was, were, that means that it could potentially be a metaphor. If I see like or as, then I know that it could potentially be a simile. But before I do that, I also need to ask myself, does the text compare two or more things? If it does, and it also uses is, are, was, and were, then it's a metaphor. If it does, and it uses like and as, then I know it's a simile. So I'm going to read, and when I find like, as, is, are, was, and were, I'm going to stop and ask myself this question. Ready? Ready? Now? Soon? Do the scientists really know? Will it happen? Will it? Will it happen today? Will it? Look. Look. See for yourself. And again, recognize that I'm pausing after the commas and the periods. The children press to each other like so many roses, so many weeds intermixed, peering out for a look at the hidden sun. So I'm going to pause because in that sentence, I see a like. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle it. So I want you guys to all circle the word like. Now, based off of my chart over here and my key points, I know that like is a word that could be a simile. But before I say that it's a simile, I need to ask myself, does the text compare two or more things? So I need to ask myself, are there two things being compared? The children pressed to each other. Well, I know that the noun in this is children. To each other like so many roses, so many weeds. Oh, well, here I know that roses and weeds are also nouns. So the two things being compared are the children, roses, and weeds. So the children are being compared to roses and weeds. So, since the text does compare two or more things, I'm going to say yes, because the question was, does the text compare two or more things? Yes, so it must be a simile. So once I find that, then I know that I'm going to include it on my chart. So I'm going to go over here into my evidence organizer, and what I've done is already provided this for you. Here is where I would write the evidence from the text that is an example of figurative language. I need to then ask myself, is the example a simile or a metaphor? Now, if I forget, an easy thing that I can do is go back to my key points. And I see that like, which is also in here, is a simile. So I'm going to write simile here. So again, if it had used an is and also compare two things, then I would have put metaphor. Then I need to ask myself what two things are being comparable. I already said that the children were being compared to first the roses and then the weeds. So the children
Did I get in it? Did I just get in it?
are compared
Because I'm in the video.
to roses and weeds.
Did I get in it? Don't worry.
Thank you for those who are following along. Now again, I'm modeling this for you. You are writing it down so that you can refer back to it and independently complete this graphic organizer on your own. Then I go into the fourth column, and that's kind of where we need to visualize. So what image does the figurative language paint in our mind? Well, the first thing I'm going to ask myself is, what do these words mean in the text? So the children are being compared to roses and weeds, but I wouldn't automatically think that children look like roses or weeds. That's not something that I would think in my head. That could be two things that are very similar. So then I must think, what does that actually look like? So I'm going to look at the verb in the sentence, and it says the children press to each other. So what does that mean, children press to each other? Put your hands down. What does that mean when children are pressed to each other? So I'm going to ask myself, where have I heard the word press? Well, I know that if I press my hands together, that means that I'm putting my hands together. So the children must be close together. And again, when I'm pressing, I'm putting my hands together so that they're close to one another. So the children must be close to each other, like so many weeds and also roses, intermixed, peering out for a look at the hidden sun. Well, peering, I might not know what that word means, but it says look at the hidden sun. So if it's saying look, I know that the children must be looking in the same direction, right? Because they're all looking at something. But they're looking at the sun. Well, I also know that the sun, even though it might be hidden in the text, is usually up in the sky. So the children must be looking up. So I'm actually going to ask for 3 volunteers, and I'm going to ask for you to come to the carpet, and I want you to model for the rest of your classmates what it would look like if you were the children pressed to each other like so many roses, so many weeds in this. So right now I'm going to repeat this sentence. Honest, can you close the door? And then I'm going to ask that you think in your head, by closing your eyes, what the text looks like. So everybody close their eyes. The children press to each other like so many roses, so many weeds, intermixed, peering out for a look at the hidden sun. Raise your hand if you would like to be a volunteer to show us what it would look like. Zahara, Onyx, and Jewel. So come into the middle. It's okay if you were not chosen because there's going to be a lot of different examples that we're going to be using today. So I want you guys to kind of work together right now to try to, I'm going to give you about 10 seconds and you guys should all be in a position to show me what you would look like if you are pressed to each other like so many roses, peering out for a look at the hidden sun.